You're watching Personal Finance with Coach Kelvin. Let's get into the video.
Hey guys, Coach Kelvin here. Now today I want to talk to you about basically what my portfolio has grown by in the last 12 months, being the first of the new year today. I wanted to basically reflect on the last 12 months and then talk about my goals leading into 2022 and what I want to achieve by the end of the year. So I'm basically going to use ShareSite, which is a portfolio tracking tool, to talk about the last 12 months, and I'll show you guys how you can sort of see what your account value was worth at the time and how much it grows during that period. And then, I'll talk to you about what I plan to do by the end of the next financial year and where I want my funds to be at. So in 2021, this was my first year getting into the cryptocurrency market. I started buying on Australia Day, so the 26th of January last year, and that was when I first kind of, dipped my toe in the water and had a test of cryptocurrency as an investment class. So I've now managed to grow that holding, or that percentage of my portfolio, quite substantially, and I've taken that from basically zero at the start of 2021 to now it's at $6,500 by the end of 2021, start of 2022. So that's a pretty cool little milestone. It's definitely a larger percentage of my portfolio than I had anticipated it to be, but I mean, that's just due to decent performance in the last 12 months in the currencies that I invested in. It's not necessarily guaranteed every single month or every single year, but I'm definitely happy with the returns so far, and I like having that diversification play, keeping a holding of crypto in my portfolio. So initially the goal was just to have, sort of 1 to 2% of my portfolio in crypto, but now it's looking closer to about 7 or 8%, but that's okay. I didn't anticipate it growing so far. So now I'm going to swap you over to ShareSite, and we can talk about the way my share portfolio has performed. So, alright, in ShareSite, you can use some of these filters here, and you can basically select the period of time that you want to track. So I'm going to go with the last year, and this is going to show the first trading day of the year being the 5th of Jan. On the 5th of Jan 2021, my portfolio balance was $47,891.53. So that was pretty good at the time. I hadn't quite passed that $50,000 milestone yet, but since that date, through dollar cost averaging and regular investing plus reinvestment of dividends, by the time we hit the 1st of January 2022, my portfolio sits at $85,037.47. So a lot of the money invested comes from my capital investment. So I've been adding money every single month, no matter what. So my minimum that I'll add is $1,000 a month, but I'm often doing closer to $1,500 to $2,000 because I always try to get as much money invested as possible so that it doesn't just sit there idle in cash. So my goal by the end of 2022 with my my share portfolio is to get this to that $100,000 milestone. So that would require me to contribute just over $1,000 a month for the next 12 months to surpass that. I'm likely to do closer to $1,500 to $2,000 still until I reach that milestone, and then who knows, I may slow down a little bit and have a bit of time to do less working hours and really enjoy myself. But for the time being, I'm very motivated to hit that $100,000 invested in my shares portfolio. Alright, so I'll take you down here. So in the last 12 months in dividends, I've earned $2,238.84, which is 2.94%. That's not too bad at all. It's very close to that 3% dividend yield that a lot of our stocks offer. Obviously, a lot of Australian stocks and especially the index funds can offer more, but I also hold international index funds, so United States and the whole world, which pays a lower yield. So the balance of that gets to close to that 3% mark. My portfolio's capital gain has been 11.61%, growing by $8,846.07. So that gives me a total return of 14.55% for the last 12 months, which is pretty awesome. I'm very, very happy with that. Yes, I've made some investments which have lost money, so that obviously affects the return figure. But if we look at the long-term performance of the S&P 500 and we look at the sort of standardized returns being about that 8% over 100 years. To hit a 14.55% return is really exciting, and that sets me up really good early on in my investment journey. So I've only been investing in shares since 2019, so I'll be coming up to my third year this year in April, and I'm really excited to see what I can get my share return for 3 years up to in that time. All right, so it sort of groups your holdings by country here, so you can sort of see the total of the portfolio at the end. I have $53,000 in Australian domiciled funds, and then $31,000 in US domiciled funds. So that gives me like a really nice balance. I have a fairly consistent holding or split between the assets I wish to hold. And yes, although some of my funds have lost money, that's okay. Like, this is something that happens, and when you're trying to diversify, you do end up with the potential to lose money over time. So my shares portfolio by the end of 2022 will be above 100,000. I plan to increase my cash holdings in this time as well, so keep putting some cash aside so that if we see a bit of a bear market, because bear in mind, since March 2020, we have not experienced a downward turn in the market that was significant, because after that 30% drop for the pandemic, the market has been on an absolute bull run, just climbing at this rapid pace, and now I'm really looking to try and take advantage of the next one, so I'll have a bit more of a substantial cash holding aside. Although I'll still dollar cost average a lot of money into the market, I just plan to keep more aside for a bit of a rainy day. So I want to get my cash holding up to about $20,000. I don't have that much cash that I sit on. Usually, I keep about $5,000 aside for each of my investment properties for any sort of adversities that they face, a broken air conditioner or hot water system or something like that, plus the rates. And then the rest of my cash I generally just invest. But I'm looking to get about another $10,000 in cash as just a backup for when there is a significant downturn in the market. I feel like this year we may be due for a little correction. Whether it happens or not doesn't matter. I'll just be prepared in the event that it does. So I'll try and build my cash up to about that $20,000 mark. I'll take my shares from 85,000 to 100,000, and I want to get my crypto from that 6.5 or 6.4 thousand up to 10,000. So by the end of next year, I should have a liquid asset number of about 130 grand. So that'll be really cool to try and achieve that. Now, some of the cash I'll hold aside will also be to pay my tax bills. So there's obviously a liability there, and I'll have to obviously make that payment to the Australian Taxation Office when my tax return is filed for those years. But yeah, it's definitely important to be prepared for these sorts of things. So we want to have that money always sitting aside and ready to go in the event we need to deploy funds, whether it is for a bill, an emergency, or to invest. All right, so when I achieve those goals, to get that sort of 130 grand in liquid assets, the next thing I kind of need to focus on is what my properties are doing. Now, they're both cash flow positive at the moment due to the low interest rate I've been able to lock them in at. I don't wish to really pay them down any quicker until the interest rate starts to rise. So while I'm getting better returns from both crypto and shares, I plan to keep putting my money to work in these asset classes. If the interest rate starts to rise when I come off my fixed rate, then I'll look at paying down my mortgages faster. But in the meantime, I'm enjoying that positive cash flow that I can divert into other assets. So that's my goals for 2022. I highly recommend that if you are, on your own investment journey, you could take a bit of a structured plan and figure out how much you want to achieve, and then reverse engineer it. So you start from December 2022. What's the end goal? Work backwards from there and figure out what you need to do to achieve that. So if we're assuming that we want to have, say, another $15,000 invested into the stock market, how are we going to do that? So I'm going to have to put into shares every single month. We'll get a calculator up here. There we go. Alright, so to get my portfolio to grow $15,000, I'm going to have to add to that portfolio every single month, probably around $1,200, but we'll just do the actual legitimate maths right now. 15,000 divided by 12, and that's giving you $1,250. So that's not really too difficult, and I have said that I'm actually quite often contributing more than that into my shares account. So, you know, that's an easy way to figure out how it's going to work. And obviously with dividends reinvested and capital appreciation in the event that the shares still go up, we're going to see that you'll hit your goals based on your dollar cost averaging strategy and the returns you can expect. So there you go. I wholesomely believe you need to have a plan with your finances. Plus, that's also going to stop you freaking out in the event of any adversities when you are investing. If you see the market drop, you don't want to panic sell. You want to stay calm, you want to stay collected, and you want to keep contributing to your investment cause so that you do not get burnt by selling at a time where it is low for you and you take a loss. Remember, any losses you incur are only on paper until you cement them in by selling. So you're far better off having a resilient strategy and investing in things that you know will perform in the long term, like index funds with an extremely low cost base. So guys, that's my plan for 2022. I just want to say Happy New Year's. I hope 2022 for you is an incredible year for your personal finances. Let's achieve some goals together. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video.